because that's where your candidates are. Your candidates are not on your career site unless they're intimately familiar already with your organization. I've got to start off this video to apologize to you, because if you've seen a lot of my videos in the past, you'll notice that I really don't talk about this subject very much, and it's actually the secret sauce to our recruitment video campaign. So I'm going to share that with you right now. A lot of times when people think about recruitment videos, they think of a video that's going to be on their career site. So when people go to the career site, they're going to have a nice video for people to watch. No doubt the video is going to talk about how great the organization is, how great the culture is, and it might have a montage of different people who talk about how awesome it is to work there. And that has its place, it's relevant, and should be there on your career site. However, about 90% of our efforts, maybe 80% at the lowest, is spent on off-page advertising of the videos, not on your page. You may ask, why is that? Well, one thing I'll ask you to do if you get a chance, if you're an analytics person or you have an analytics person on your staff that looks at the numbers, what I want you to look at is, where do most of your applicants come from? If you're like us and like many of the clients we work with, somewhere around 80% of your job applicants, sometimes almost 100% of your job applicants, will come from the job boards. Because generally right now, active job seekers do not generally go to individual websites to apply for jobs initially. Yes, eventually they do. Initially what they do is they start their job search using a job board. The most popular one, as you probably recall, is Indeed. That's the largest one. I think probably right behind that is probably going to be LinkedIn, because it has grown so much over the past several years. And then probably somewhere down the list, you're going to see Glassdoor and some of the other smaller job boards. But ultimately, when people are looking for a job, they're on job boards, because the reason why is inventory. If someone is looking for a job, they don't necessarily want to look for one particular company unless they're dead set on that company. Perhaps they're already familiar with that company. Maybe they know someone who works there already. Maybe they've worked there in the past. There may be some familiarity with one company, but most job seekers don't look for jobs that way. Most job seekers use job boards. So in that case, they're able to look at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 different jobs at a time. I can recall in a not too distant past, I was shadowing several different clinicians, nurses as well as doctors, and other highly educated individuals who were looking for a job. And at the time when I was shadowing them, I was noticing that the first thing that they did when they were to search for a job, they may start with a Google search, or they may go straight to Indeed, and they start to search for a job, and they start categorizing those jobs. They may say, well, these particular 5 jobs fit kind of what I would be interested in, and so I'm going to put them all in different tabs, and I'm going to start comparing those jobs. So think about the behavior of your audience. This is how they search for jobs. So really, in that case, what video you have on your career site doesn't really matter. They're probably not even going to see the video. So, but now for those, let's say 20% or 10% that do go to your website, you do want to have the video there. In fact, we found that the quality of candidate is usually much higher when they come straight to your website. They generally have a higher interest level in your company. They generally have some level of familiarity with your company. And so in those cases, the quality of candidate is much higher. So you definitely want to have the career site video there. Just know that a majority of the people that become familiar with your job opportunity are coming at your job opportunity through a job board and not through your career site. So that should really shift the way you're thinking about how you're going to utilize the videos that you do create. You want to make sure that those videos are on places that your candidates will actually see them. The types of jobs that you probably have on your plate right now that are hard to fill, in most cases, I'll say probably 100% of the cases, if you're in the United States and you're trying to fill a hard to fill position, they probably have a mobile phone. Number 2, that mobile phone probably has internet access. We found that if they have a mobile phone, they have internet access, there's almost a 100% chance that they're on YouTube. Now, if you get to a platform like TikTok or Instagram Reels, or perhaps Facebook, there's about a 50% chance that they have some interactions on either of those sites. If we're talking about LinkedIn, it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 30 to 40% of those people will have a LinkedIn profile. Now, depending on the industry and the type of work they're doing, some particular industries, some particular jobs, they have very low interaction, let's say on a LinkedIn, and they may more likely be on a TikTok. So it really just depends on the type of workers that you're looking for. That's going to determine which one you're going to put more efforts into. But I just want to make sure you understand the concept that it's not as much about what's on your page in terms of your outreach and the videos you have and the amount of videos you're using. It's really more off page. After you get to video number 2 or 3, you probably don't have a whole lot more space on your career site anyway. You're gonna have to start divvying up those particular videos in the actual postings themselves. So if you have the type of ATS, applicant tracking system, by the way, if you have an applicant tracking system that allows you to embed videos, that's where you can start to utilize many different types of videos so that when they do look at your jobs on your website, they're able to see the videos that are relevant to the job they're about to apply for. So really, if you think about it, in that case, you've got limited space to use on your website, but you have unlimited space to use on the social media platforms as well as digital advertising. Now, I know a lot of recruitment marketing organizations are big on display ads, and those have their place. They're good. We definitely are proponents of having display ads. But if you're using display ads instead of video ads, you're fighting a losing battle. You just no longer can be able to ignore the importance of video ads if you want to be a top-tier employer. As the days go by, more and more organizations are using video in their strategy. So yes, you want to have a career site video. Yes, you want to have varied videos to go in your job postings. However, most of your efforts should be pointed to off page. In other words, not on your career site. People who are out in the community who are looking at their social media platforms, those are the ones you want to focus on. And yes, you should have display ads, but yes, you should also have video as well. If you're not using recruitment videos, you're not giving your candidates what they want. The candidates want to be able to see what the work environment is like. They want to be able to see who perhaps their peers would be, they work with, the staff, and they also want to see their hiring managers. It's no longer sufficient to show them a block of text to try and describe what this job is like. It's no wonder that I'm hearing more and more often that candidates are ghosting their prospective employers. Once they find out more about the job, they're no longer interested. Initially, all they read was just a job description, and that they really didn't get an idea of what the job was about. You and I both know a lot of job descriptions in a lot of cases are outdated. Even if they're 6 months old, they may not be relevant to what that job entails right now. So even at their very best, they have limitations in describing what the job is about. And then at their worst, it's a very old job description that doesn't really show all the duties of the job. In fact, a lot of job descriptions are describing a person and don't even bother to describe the job anyway. They spend more time talking about what type of person they're looking for, like what type of education, experience, and whatnot. They just spend very little time talking about what the actual job entails, as well as what the job offers to the employee. So keep those things in mind. I wanted to make sure you have a rounded view, because if you've watched my content before, you've seen me talk about video, but maybe the thought is, why would I need so many videos, or why is that even important? The reason why is most of your efforts for recruitment right now needs to be off your page. You want to make sure everything looks good on your page, but you also want to make sure that most of your efforts are done off page, because that's where your candidates are. Your candidates are not on your career site unless they're intimately familiar already with your organization. When you start a campaign, they're going to ask you one thing up front, is really what is the intention of your campaign? Are you looking to get more views on your information? Are you looking to get more engagement? Are you looking to get more people to click on your particular page? In this case, in this discussion, career page. These are all factors. Are you looking to get followers? If you don't have an intention in mind, you're likely to be very disappointed in the results, because there's really no campaign out there that's going to say, hey, do you want to get more views, more clicks, more followers, all in one campaign? That doesn't exist, because the platform is going to go after your particular intention for that particular campaign. If you're posting something organically and you're just posting it out for the community, you also want to have an intention there as well. What is my intention for what I'm posting? How do I want the person to feel when they see my particular posting? What do I want them to do? Do I want them to click on my posting? Do I want them to like it? Do I want them to share it? Do I want them to follow my content? These are all things that you want to keep in mind when you're marketing on your own page. So a lot of you folks who are recruiters, or if your organizations who are thinking about expanding your social media presence, yes, part of it is organic posting where you're just posting something on there. That does give some level of exposure to your job. But number one, it's not focused. And number two, what is your intention? The reason why I say not focused is when you post something on a social media platform, it's going to show it and sample it to a measure or a subset of the people who follow your content. Now, if those people who follow your content aren't direct prospects for your job, they're less likely to engage on it. If they're less likely to engage on that content, that means that the social media platform is not going to spread it further, at least not very much. So now you're in a situation where you've gone through the effort of posting this material, but it's not pushing it out further because your network is not vibing with whatever that is. So I'll give an example. Let's say I'm a recruiter and I'm a nurse recruiter, for example. And let's say out of the 100 connections that I have, only 2 or 3 of them are nurses. Well, if it sends it out to the first 10 or 20 of my connections, and only 2 or 3 of them are nurses, and those nurses aren't even on the platform right now, are not active, and the rest of the people who it shows it to, they don't really respond to it. Now I have a situation where there's very few people that are going to be interacting with that content. Or let's say I've got a lot of recruiters who are friends of mine and they happen to like it that first time I posted out there. Well, let's say I'm a recruiter and I'm a nurse recruiter, for example. And let's say out of the 100 connections that I have, only 2 or 3 of them are nurses. Well, if it sends it out to the first 10 or 20 of my connections, and only 2 or 3 of them are nurses, and those nurses aren't even on the platform right now, are not active, and the rest of the people who it shows it to, they don't really respond to it. Now I have a situation where there's very few people that are going to be interacting with that content. Or let's say I've got a lot of recruiters who are friends of mine and they happen to like it that first time I posted out there. Well, the second, third, fourth, fifth time, I don't know that they're going to continue to keep liking yours unless maybe you're liking theirs. And even in that case, there's a challenge because how many of your recruiters are connected directly to nurses on that particular platform? That will determine how viral that content tends to be. So unless you're posting something very general that would appeal to everyone, it's very unlikely that posting is going to go viral. So that's the challenge for organic. The reason why we focus on paid is that we can determine and make sure that that material gets viewed by the demographics that we're looking for. So using my example of registered nurses, I could put in the platform, depending on the platform I'm using, I want to make sure that my information is being targeted towards nurses. It doesn't matter to me how old they are, what gender they are. I want to make sure that it's in front of nurses. So you can do that on the ad platforms. And so that is a situation where you're able to make sure that your content gets in front of the people that you want them to see. Now, when I do that, I still have to tell the platform what is my intention. I need to let it know. Do I want to just get more people to see this? Maybe through views? Or do I want more people to engage with the content because I just want more folks to actually share it and perhaps like it or comment on it? That's a possibility. Or, this is the one I think you really want, is do I want people to click on my ad, go to my website and apply for my job? Now that's where we spend probably 70% of our efforts. It's just that. We want to make sure that that information is being seen, in this case videos, by the demographic that we're looking for. Maybe it's by job title, size of company. It could be by the content that's in the video. It's a number of ways we can target our audience. But make sure you understand the point here is that we are driving that applicant or driving that person to click on a link and become an applicant for the jobs that we're working on. So hopefully that helps to clear it up how important intention is when posting something on social media from a recruitment marketing standpoint. And if you're not using video already, shame on you. But no, seriously, if you're not using video already, start to think about incorporating video into that strategy. Yes, display ads have their place, but we spend 100% of our efforts on video because we know it's the most effective thing right now. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think.